Hello, this is the face behind the channel. In the past, I've used this channel to make video essays about old Hollywood, but now I'm expanding. It's going to be about literature, TV, film, and the general artist's experience. So hi, I'm Malik, but my friends call me Coco, and you may too. Welcome to Boulevard Noir. I recently started a Substack, and while that is not deserving of a full YouTube video just for the sake of it, it got me thinking about something bigger than that. If you don't know, I've been writing screenplays for 5 years. And even after one of them got produced and another one got a development deal, I still struggle to call myself a writer. For some reason, I feel like the Gil Pender character in Midnight in Paris, who feels that writing scripts is not as good as writing novels or something. I don't know. But I've also been writing short stories. I've also been working on a novel. I just don't know why I struggle to call myself a writer. But as I was thinking about this a few days ago, I remembered something that happened while my movie was premiering a few months ago. I was sitting with one of my closest friends at a diner in Hollywood, and she's a musician, and she just sort of broke down and started talking about how she no longer wanted to make music because it was useless. Her songs, which, by the way, are so catchy and so uplifting and so fun, were not reaching millions of people or making millions of dollars, and therefore she felt they were useless. Here's what was kind of ironic about all of this. We were sitting at this diner because I was staying at the hotel that the diner is in, across the street from the Chinese theater where my movie was premiering. That movie, I had poured all of my financial resources into, all of my emotional resources into, and gotten nothing back. That movie, I wanted it to be so helpful to people. I wanted it to be so useful, and it had been so useless. It did nothing for anyone, and yet, there she was, in Hollywood, having flown across the country to the West Coast to attend the premiere of this useless movie. Well, I told her, and I meant it, that her music was of course useful. It was so useful, just the same way that other people's music had gotten her out of really difficult times. Her music could also do that for other people, and it was. But you know what? That was the wrong answer. The answer I should have given was, so what? So what if this music is completely useless? Are you happy when you make it? Does it bring joy to you when you're crafting it? Does it sound even slightly good? If your answer to any of that is yes, then just make it. It's useless is a boring excuse not to make it. Oscar Wilde, who was always dramatic and always right, wrote once, "All art is quite useless." And he didn't mean it in a bad way. He just meant that you as an artist are allowed to create things that serve no other purpose other than creating a mood. It's not supposed to preach something or say something or make you act a certain way. If that's what somebody takes away from it, then cool, good. Shaping the culture, nice. But that's not its job. And honestly, I need to be reminded of that too. I need to remind myself of that too, because I always get caught in the trap of my art needing to mean something or be useful to someone, to be worthy. I too sometimes feel that if it doesn't get the recognition, or if it doesn't change someone's life, or if it doesn't go viral or whatever, then it's not good enough. But no, that's not how art works. It's just not. When I think back to that film that was premiering that night, I'm very aware that it suffered greatly from the fact that I needed it to resonate with the largest number of people, and that I needed it to help people. And I compromised so much on my creative vision and what I thought would be more artistic and more interesting just because I needed it to resonate with more people. It suffered. I diluted what mattered to me. I stripped away parts that were personal and real in favor of making it more useful. I think the problem is that we've attached the word useful to productivity, to metrics, to money, to numbers, to virality. But the truth is that even when my art is not useful to other people, it's useful to me. It's useful for me to get my words out, to get the chaos that's in my head down on paper or in a movie or whatever other forms of art I can create. It's just useful for me. It's also, let's not kid ourselves. We artists have a pathological need to be seen. So it's important for us to get our work out, get our whatever is building in our brains out into the world. But this obsession with what people will think of your art is really the enemy. Because it's really what it's asking is, will people like me when they see this? And why do you need to be liked by people? Do you like them? But either way, maybe they will like you. But maybe they won't. Maybe they won't get it. But you have to be okay with that and continue making your art and make it as personal as you can without thinking about what people will think of it. Because I promise you that the more personal you get, the more universal it becomes. And if you really want it to be liked by people, you want it to be appreciated by people, you want it to be useful to people, this is what's going to resonate. By the way, Oscar Wilde was not the only one to think that. Théophile Gautier said nothing is really beautiful unless it's useless, or something to that effect. Now, do I totally agree with that? Not entirely. And I'll give you an example for why I don't think that's true, or why I don't think it needs to be true. If you've been somewhere in Europe, you've probably come across some form of a really beautiful neoclassical or Baroque fountain that is both useful and beautiful. You know, I say we've had a productivity obsession since the early 2000s when I was growing up, but I think this has been an issue for a lot longer than that, probably since the Industrial Revolution. I think somewhere between then and now, we've chosen to compromise on beauty in favor of function. I read an article a few years ago that talked about how we now build things that are really simple and modern because we want them to be as inoffensive to as many eyes as possible. And I call BS on that because I wasn't pulled on what is deemed to be offensive. I think nothing is more offensive to me than those hideous steel things in the street. I think they're called bollards. They're horrendous. I think they're the ugliest thing in the world. So I think that offends me. I think that as a writer, as a filmmaker, I grew up chasing beauty. I wanted, and I still do, I'm constantly looking for the most beautiful thing to look at because that's what's inspiring to me. I need to be around beauty. I need to wake up to something really pretty to be able to continue with my day. I find myself constantly running to quote unquote offensive places that still have a soul. And the word offensive here is just code for having a strong viewpoint and not caring what people think. And that usually resonates more than I know I need to please everyone. It doesn't work. The rare artists, the real artists, are the ones who don't care. They don't care what you think. They know that what offends some will not offend others, and what is useless to some is useful to others. That's just the way the world works. You can't please everyone. We are losing our appreciation for the craft, for the process of making art. We used to really appreciate artisans. It used to be that you heard these stories about this fashion house spent 1,000 hours embroidering this dress, and you'd go, oh my God. Now it's just, meh, okay, a machine can do that. Probably with less flaws. And yet, we don't use the machines to create these beautiful things. We use the machines to build the hideous steel things in the street that I hate. Everything is blending together. There's no art anymore. There's only design. And even that is not good enough anymore because we are not using our imagination and we're not doing things the way we want to do them just for the sake of doing them the way we want to do them. So this is a long-winded way of saying, and of reminding myself too, that if you're an artist, I beg you to be eccentric. I beg you to even be offensive sometimes. I beg you to be rare and singular and unique and different. And you, just you, who you are. Who knows? If we're lucky, we'll be witnessing the birth of the next great artist. And if you're lucky, you won't care whether you're it or not.